For the millions of immigrants living in the United States, nothing less than opportunities equal to the rest of the population is what they rightfully deserve, just as is enshrined in the national ethos of American Dream. In his 1931 book, The Epic of America, the author and historian James Truslow Adams, who later popularized the phrase American Dream, defined it as one of social order in which each man and woman shall be able to attain their fullest capabilities and be recognized by others for who they are, regardless of their place of birth. But in America today, does place of birth really not matter? And can immigrants still keep their faith in an American dream that promised legality, opportunity, and equality? To start with, let's dig into the issue of legality. Historical U.S. Census data suggests since the Immigration and Nationality Act was signed into law in 1965, the share of immigrants in the U.S. population nearly tripled from 4.7% in 1970 to 13.7% in 2019. The number of unauthorized immigrants also tripled, from 3.5 million in 1990 to 10.5 million in 2017, though slightly down from the peak in 2007, but still accounting for nearly a quarter of the total U.S. immigrant population in 2017. Although unauthorized immigrants enter the U.S. illegally, a survey conducted by Pew Research Center in 2020 suggests there is strong public support, equal to 3/4 of the population, for them to stay in the U.S. legally if certain requirements are met. But even for those who have already gained legal status in the U.S., their pathways for advancement are actually very slim. Take the 117th Congress as an example. There are, in total, only 18 foreign-born lawmakers, representing just 3% of all the 541 members in Congress, far below the historical high of about 10% in the first Congress in 1789. Secondly, in terms of opportunity and equality, there remains a huge gap between immigrants and the population born within the U.S. when it comes to the attainment of basic education. Data from the 2018 American Community Survey shows that 27% of immigrants in the U.S. had not attained high school education, compared with only 8% of the U.S.-born population. Immigrants from Mexico and Central America, amongst all, are the least likely to reach high school education, partly because they are also the main groups of unauthorized immigrants in the U.S., to whom the educational system cannot be easily accessed. Thirdly, a similar gap exists in the job market, as immigrants in the U.S. are disproportionately represented in low-skilled industries, while the people born in the U.S. are more likely to be employed in high-skilled jobs. According to Pew Research Center's estimates from the 2017 American Community Survey, immigrants, either legal or unauthorized, accounted for 29% of the total workforce in agriculture, 25% in construction, 22% in household services, and 20% in both hospitality and manufacturing, all of which far exceed the 13.7% immigrant share of the total U.S. population in 2017. Moreover, data also shows that in almost all high-skilled jobs, except the mechanical ones, U.S.-born workers have enjoyed a comfortable lead over immigrants, which partly explains the average wage gap between the two groups, that is, $21.5 per hour for U.S.-born workers and $20 per hour for immigrants, data from 2021 reveals. So, it is fair to say that the legality, opportunity, and equality that the American dream has promised for immigrants are far from being fulfilled. In a global attitude survey conducted in 2020, which asked if being born in the U.S. was important to being truly American, 35% of Americans still said yes, which summarized the reality of an inequitable life between immigrants and U.S.-born Americans.